Hello and welcome to The Hill is Always Greener, a show where four friends have chill discussions about Sonic the Hedgehog to distract themselves from the inevitable passage of time and their own rapidly waning ability to relate to the youth and stepping on Legos. Or sorry, are they Lego construction block? Well, whatever it is. Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Falero.
I'm Rock the Jake.
I'm CyberLink.
And I'm Game Buddy.
And what are we doing here today? What's going on today, everybody?
So Superstars, huh?
Oh, well, okay, so several months after the announcement.
I realize we're gonna, it's gonna date the podcast a little, but we have to at least mention Superstars very briefly because we just got that announcement as we're a day or two before we're recording, and oh boy.
We have to acknowledge it, and it's not out yet by the time of this release of this podcast, I'm pretty sure, even with the vague release date. So we're still okay, I think.
Yeah, we will call this, we're preserving our reactions for history's sake.
Yes.
These are our refrigerated takes.
I mean, I like the concept. It's not a Mania 2. I mean, I'm saying this positively. It looks like a new Super Sonic Bros type version thing, and I mean everything I've seen and mostly heard so far, it looks cool. It looks like they got the physics. Looks very fun. I love the idea of local co-op. Kind of wish it was online. I hope all that Sonic 4 music is just placeholder.
God, let us hope so.
Certainly.
If by the time this comes out, there are videos with T-Lope's soundtrack, I'll be very happy. But if I'm hearing more of that Sonic Origins Supersonic style music, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can still go on.
As I'm putting this one together, Sega has released the opening animation for Sonic Superstars, and the music, which I believe was composed by T-Lopes and Jun Senoue, sounds pretty dope. So, that's a relief.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Otherwise, it looks very good. It's very cute.
Maybe a little bit too cute, maybe a little cute over cool, because it's those 3D models that, because I was having a discussion with Jez about this, and they were saying that, yeah, those models are good and all, the 3D classic models, but they do lean a bit more towards the cute than the cool, you do have, the nice mixture in the animated sections these days, but it's fine. It's not my preferred aesthetic style, but it's kind of what I wanted from Mania 2, and that it's not just relying on old levels and old concepts too much.
Yeah.
Classic Sonic is interesting to where, I mean, lots of people do, especially when they contrast with modern Sonic, to pick and choose their favorite. But yeah, there are multiple different versions of classic Sonic as well versus the gosh, I'm picturing in my head the Sonic screensaver / Sega calendar art where he's more round, he's very bouncy and cute versus by the time you got to the Sonic CD animation and then the transition from pure classic to the Saturn until we finally got Sonic Adventure Sonic. And it just seems like Sega's decided to, at least when it comes to a game like this and official renders, go back to the we're gonna go back to the cutesy wootsy classic Sonic and just brighten up his blue a little bit. Or, even talking about I've mentioned how I kind of like the Sonic 3 sprite where he looks a little more angsty. But yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those to where just because he doesn't have green eyes doesn't mean it's quote unquote the same classic Sonic. Classic Sonic has lots of different evolutionary paths, but I overall like the look. It does look super cute. I love seeing the 3D models of all the characters. I really like that Tails. I'm interested to see all of the new powers and whatever. But yeah. We've got plenty of time to speculate and eventually get our hands on that, huh?
And of course, Fang.
Well, the two levels we've heard about right now are Speed Jungle and Bridge Islands Zone, and. That's right, Bridge and Jungle coming back into the modern day for you 8-bit fans.
I mean, it does seem like 8-bit is a big influence, not least of which because Fang's back.
Yeah, good old Fang, the sniper weasel, Gerbo Wolf man.
He got it. He got an extra finger.
Good for him.
It's important to have things to aspire to.
Perfect for flipping off the audience.
And a brand new character designed by Naoto Oshima. I'm glad that one of the original Sonic creators is still contributing in a positive way.
Yes.
I'm just saying though, if you're going to go back to having Naoto Oshima design a character, maybe just call up your buddy Masato Nakamura and be like, "Hey, do you mind composing a few tracks for this one? That'd be nice."
Yeah.
That's just me. This is my thing.
But if they did that, they wouldn't own them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they can, I don't know, maybe they'll have a bit of... No, dreams come true are going to make that really difficult. Oh, well, I guess my dream isn't coming true.
When it comes to that dream, I think it might be best if you just let go. Speaking of which...
Oh, I get it.
Oh, that actually took me a moment.
So, yeah. Now, setting all of that aside, setting about all that Sonic nostalgia aside, we're going back to a nostalgic Sonic game. Well, it is now, I guess. Because, right, so, Luke, you're going to have to lead this one, because this is a topic that you are a lot more well-versed than any of us are in.
That's a word
Something
for it.
you literally bought into. So tell us about our topic today.
So, do you guys remember the Toys to Life boom in the mid-2000s?
I sure do, as I look up at my shelf that has a few different amiibos on it.
Yeah, I got a couple of those. Oh yeah, I've even got my Shovel Knight one. Oh, look at that guy.
Oh, sweet.
Thank goodness nobody's going to say, sad to say, the amiibo gag will never ever die. Sorry.
I mean, I was thinking it.
I know you did.
I mean, I would say that people have stopped dogging you for it, but no. you did buy into it in a big way, but how? I mean, it's not like it's completely dead now, right? There's still some Toys to Life out there.
It's mostly dead. Like, amiibos are the last thing that's really hanging on. Like, Disney Infinity died after 3 years. Skylanders hasn't had a new game in over half a decade. Does anybody even remember that Ubisoft Starlink or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
I remember it solely because of Star Fox being in it.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the version I got.
I think I picked it up for like less than $10 on clearance just for the Star Fox stuff. And
yeah,
I don't think I ever played it. Cool R-Wing, though.
I'll say this. Starlink is like the best Star Fox game to date.
Yeah, probably.
Certainly better than the last few. But the reason I bring it up is that there's one Toys to Life game in particular that let's say I might have gone a little too deep on. And that was Lego Dimensions, released in 2015 for Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and pour one out for Wii U.
Glug, glug, glug.
Which, like, the big hook with that one was, yeah, you've got your little toys that you can scan, but also they're all made out of actual Lego pieces. So immediately that's going to appeal to the people who do, love building Lego sets, collecting Legos, that sort of thing. So, immediately built in. They had a pretty grand plan. They ended up with 14 different IPs involved in the first year, 16 in the second. I bet I could probably still name them all from memory if I really tried.
You did that recently, actually, before we had this call. Like, I think you were able to record.
Oh yeah, I guess I did do that last week when
Yeah.
we were talking about this.
Do you want to do it again? For the listeners.
Yeah, put in the timer music behind me. Let's see. Wizard of Oz, The Simpsons, Ninjago, Doctor Who, DC, Back to the Future, Portal, Lord of the Rings, Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo, Midway Arcade, Lego Movie, Jurassic World, Lego Chima, Ghostbusters 2016, Harry Potter, Mission Impossible, Adventure Time, A-Team, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Gremlins, E.T., Lego Batman Movie, Knight Rider, Goonies, Lego City Undercover, Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, Beetlejuice, and Sonic the Hedgehog.
There you go.
And also little cameos by Flintstones, Jetsons, The Flash, CW, Red Dwarf, and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh my.
Bleedstones? Wow.
Granddad?
But can it run Crisis?
No, like that game was a glitchy mess that only got glitchier as time went on. The engine they were running on was already dated by the time that game came out, and it showed its age 2 years in. But they had all these IPs involved. They all had these individual Legos. It was a huge thing, and they had planned to do 3 full years of content basically for the thing, and they only managed to get 2 out before just the bottom really fell out of the Toys to Life fad, and that combined with like how pricey it was to basically manufacture all these Legos and sell them at a competitive price compared to, other Toys to Life stuff like Disney Infinity and Skylanders. Like that basically meant they were selling everything at a loss, and it did not end up bearing fruit in the end, which is, it's a shame because there was a lot of stuff that had to be axed as a result of that. And like, I actually did some digging and found a list of IPs that they were looking to add in year 3. Reading off this list: Despicable Me, Captain Underpants, How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek, The Croods, The Smurfs, James Cameron's Avatar, Pirates of the Caribbean, King Kong, Godzilla, Universal Monsters, Thunderbirds, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Tintin, Minecraft, Angry Birds, and Mega Man.
Oh,
wow. The Pirates of the Caribbean, that one kind of throws me for the loop. That was
because the big thing with that one was they couldn't do Marvel or Star Wars despite all the Lego Marvel and Star Wars games because Disney Infinity was out at that time. So it's like, nope, we are locking down. That one's just for us. You guys, no, you can't have them. So
wow,
it did seem like a bit of a coup that they would finally get a Disney property in there. Alas, it was not meant to be. But if you were paying attention to that first list, you'll notice that yes, Sonic the Hedgehog was mentioned in there, getting added as part of the 7th overall wave during that second year of content in November 18th, 2016. Obviously, the game was developed by TT Games, aka Traveler's Tales, who, as we mentioned before, made 3D Blast and Sonic R before spending close to 20 years doing literally nothing but Lego games.
So a nice little return to form to them, kind of, almost getting to do a little bit of Sonic.
I'm surprised that it did not feature any overt references to 3D Blast and R outside of like one little bit of dialogue, because like for everything else, there are just so many little like nods and references to Sonic's history at the time. Like that was part of the release as part of the 25th anniversary celebration. Like the first trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog content pack came out like as part of that 25th anniversary thing at Comic-Con, where we got our first look at Mania and Forces, to kind of put that into perspective. And
wow,
so basically with Dimensions, there were outside of like the main pack that came with the stuff in the base game, there were 4 different kinds of contact packs. There were fun packs, which had a character and a vehicle or gadget, team packs, which is 2 characters, 2 vehicles, level packs, which were 1 character, 2 vehicles, and then it would unlock like a bonus level, and then story packs, which were 1 character, 2 vehicles, and then would like do 6 levels that would basically do like a full mini story campaign that would adapt a movie like Ghostbusters 2016 or Lego Batman. And Sonic was one of the ones that got a level pack. Like, I realize all of them are fairly packed, but Sonic's it feels like it's absolutely bursting at the gills with stuff, just in terms of how much they managed to cram in there. In environments, set pieces, nods, references, characters, that sort of thing. And it does feel authentic because they got all of the then current voice actors to reprise their roles, with one notable exception.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty fun, actually. It's mostly I'd say the current cast, but that has actually changed over time.
Yeah.
It was the current cast of the time, but except for one dude, sounded a little bit different.
Yeah, so Big the Cat is in the game, and for whatever reason, it is not Kyle Hebert voicing him. It is Oliver Wyman, his voice from the 4Kids era.
Which, to be clear, it's not a bad performance. It's just a little jarring, like, several years after we had a big cast change and had kind of gotten used to it, to where I just genuinely wonder if, like, some wires got crossed and put in a call to a different agent, but who knows? It's
possible.
We only tease in good fun. Like, he sounds pretty okay for that era of Big.
Yeah, it's just a little. It just feels a little out of place.
I can't remember if I ever shared on the show is, the thing I dislike most about like the 4Kids era is like the material they had to work with. Like when an actor is given decent writing to work with, hey, turns out they sound good.
Decent writing and decent direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like this was not a game that would generally, skimped on its voice acting. Like there were a couple sound-alikes, but like they got back Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd for Marty and Doc. Gary Oldman's the main bad guy. Joel McHale's in there. Like there's a surprising amount of role reprisal. So I have to think that, like you said, just some wires got crossed somewhere along the line.
I'm just so happy that Peter Capaldi's in this game playing his iteration of the Doctor, because having him interact with Roger Craig Smith, Sonic the Hedgehog, kind of almost, is pretty cool.
Hey, you're the Doctor, right? I heard you named a screwdriver after me. How cool is that?
But yeah, so the Sonic level pack came out November 2016, and like I said, it's gave us an original level called Sonic Dimensions, which I remember being a little surprising to me at the time, because I remember at that time that was a rumored game name that was going around for like a new Sonic game that was coming out in 2015, like right after Lost World and Boom. And people were saying this was going to be the new thing. This was going to be announced at E3, and that obviously never happened. So it definitely like caught me a little bit by surprise at that time. But, I suppose it just makes sense in the context of whatever. So it starts out really cleverly. Like they recreate the Sonic running past and creating the Sega logo from Sonic 2 and all the fonts and everything. It's a really nice touch, but immediately off the bat, you notice something is a little off.
Right, so it's time we talked about the music. Now, the title screen music is the first indicator that, we're familiar with, we just talked about Masato Nakamura before, and the checks that have to be written for his music to be used. We're familiar with the Sonic theme maybe not making it to modern titles, but yeah, it's got some... I wouldn't even say sound alike. It's really hard to say what's going on with this music right off the bat. Some of it, there are some tracks throughout this that seem reminiscent of the original game music, and some of these that just seem like their own thing.
Yeah, they're definitely at least trying to kind of mimic the style of the original tracks, but just distinct enough that they are their own thing. Like you can hear some similar motifs, but it's if you put them side by side, there's definitely some obvious differences. And it's like I get it. All the rights around the Genesis era Sonic music are complicated. Even, not just Sonic 1 and 2, but obviously 3 and Knuckles is a whole thing.
And I guess at that point they'd sunk cost at having to recreate Sonic 3 1, Sonic 1, Sonic 2. At that point, technically the Sonic and Knuckles ones are fine, but we've done all these other ones, I guess. So let's just go whole hog and making it its own thing.
Yeah, although there is a lot of Sonic Adventure music and even a little bit of Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 4 in there.
I think the comment I remember coming to mind when we were watching Luke graciously stream this for us. Gosh, I think you're the one that actually bought me the Lego Dimensions and the Sonic pack for a birthday or Christmas years ago.
That sounds like
Luke.
a thing I would do.
And I know I still have it. I was like, well, no, I'm not getting rid of that ever. I think it's just been in storage. But the thing about the music that popped up in my brain was like, yes, they're different. They sure did seem to get the sound right. Like they sound correct. Like whatever modern synths they are using, feel. I don't think it's literally Genesis hardware, but
it's not.
It sure feels correct.
It's definitely so much closer than once again, sorry, June, but Sonic 4 and all the Sonic 4 accessories,
What?
all of it just it's never sounded right to my ear. But this sounds a lot, and you know what? The songs are good too.
Yeah.
Like for the most part. Well, once you get past, I think the title screen theme is a little weird because it has the merry-go-round breakdown part there. It goes at one point, but aside from that, these are pretty good songs actually.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of really well-attentioned homages to just Sonic Genesis music throughout the years, and in going back to the fact that Luke streamed this for us to basically learn and watch, I remarked that I was surprised that there was so much Sonic Adventure 1 music in it, and it makes sense because of licensing and all that, but just it's a great soundtrack to pull from, and it was just cool that this Toys to Life game that has Sonic in it has a bunch of Sonic Adventure 1 music, so I like that.
I definitely think some of the sound-alikes, don't quite land. Like Chemical Plants feels like the worst offender in my mind. It sounds like, that one Kevin MacLeod track, insert clip here.
It's that chiptune vibe which pops up a bit too often. That's the thing that kind of separates it from like Mega Drive Genesis music, is that kind of what do we even call this? Like an old-fashioned square sound font.
Yeah, I don't have the vocabulary, but yeah, it's
like a square wave
higher.
thing.
It's more
That one doesn't really, land with me, but there are some that I absolutely will swear by. Like Lava Reef is definitely one of the highlights. As is, as I've mentioned before in a previous episode, Ice Cap Zone definitely lands. Like, I would be super happy if, even just somebody made a mod to insert those, in place of the Sonic Origins versions.
yeah, sure, why not?
But yeah, the Sonic Dimensions level, you go through Green Hill at first, and, it looks like Green Hill should. Like, I'm pretty sure that Sega lent them a lot of, like, the assets they use to recreate Green Hill in Generations, like very similar looking textures. And, it's pretty basic level design. There's, loop-de-loops, there's springs and everything, but it is also, you kind of immediately see that there's some cracks showing when they try to retrofit Sonic-style speed and 2D running into like an engine that was not really built for it.
Yeah, like when we were watching, I noticed that, like, especially, like, well, there was some areas where there was like a couple little hiccups, but especially in the open world, like open hub area, when you tried to do a loop-de-loop, that was a bit of a struggle.
It reminds me of like when Sonic, when Minecraft did the Sonic pack. A lot of people had the same problems as like, man, they tried their best, but it is really hard to have Sonic in a system that's not meant for him. It needs that blast processing, apparently.
Yes.
Or brick processing, as the case may be. So yeah, Sonic runs through Green Hill. Like, they've got Lego versions of all the classic badniks, the Moto Bugs, the Buzz Bombers, the Choppers. Like, they all look very cute. And it's especially, cute when you realize, yeah, like all these models are basically designed using real Lego pieces. So theoretically, if you knew the pieces to get, you could build every single one of these, which is very cool. Sonic runs to the end, spins past the goalpost, and jumps into a ring where he gets transported to the half-pipe special stage, which is, it's neat. Like, they use this a lot during the level to basically use as the transition between zones, and I think it actually works surprisingly well. Like, especially since you don't have to worry about hitting the ring targets or whatever in this version. You can just, any rings you get are basically bonuses to add to your total. But I like it. I think that it's a good translation.
And this being a British studio, my STC loving brain wonders like, they used to use the star posts and special stages to get around in STC. Makes you wonder if that's what they were going for here. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, as I do on this podcast.
I mean, it's entirely possible. I can't discount the possibility. So Sonic gets the Chaos Emerald from the end of the special stage and comes out, only to find that Eggman has the other 6 and has captured all of his friends. Oh no. I love, there's a lot of really nice touches, like Eggman appears, there's a big lightning flash behind him, and it's revealed it's just a projector showing the lightning flash. Like, as he's, taunting Sonic with his plan, he's doing the Sonic 1 Chaos Emerald juggle. It's very good.
The dialogue here is very fun, and it was very indicative of the Sonic dialogue at the time that we were getting in the game, so I know there are a lot of fans out there who probably did not care for any of this. But for me...
That's a shame, because the biggest takeaway from looking these up again is that it's, to me, came across as like the perfect balance. Like, I'm passingly familiar with the Lego games, and I know they all kind of have kind of that, just very like irreverent, like referential humor, and I thought it fit
it's all tongue-in-cheek, because it's Lego.
Yeah.
It's freaking Lego. It needs to be that.
I mean, I hate to say, I don't want to dog on anybody, but some people just need to experience media outside of Sonic the Hedgehog, and maybe you won't see yourself getting mad at a Lego game. So I thought it was a perfect blend of like sarcasm and references without being too leany on the fourth wall or like mean or stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I never came away from this thinking like, oh yeah, they got me for caring about something. Like, no, I thought it was quite charming.
I mean, it might be entirely self-aggrandizing on my part, but the script really feels like something we would have written.
Yeah, there were several jokes that were like, dang, that's like, that is in our Sonic F's drafts folder.
Yeah. So yeah, Eggman has captured all of Sonic's friends, gotten most of the Chaos Emeralds, and has gotten his hands on one of the keystone devices from the main game. And while he's, showing off and, being all self-inflating for his ego, talking about how, 25 years of back and forth with him and Sonic, even though I think at this point they still had canon ages, don't worry about it. Sonic just takes the opportunity to free most of his friends, except Amy, who just mysteriously disappears for some reason. And during all of this, they get distracted, and the device ends up overloading, creating a bunch of portals that sucks everybody in and banishes them across the dimensions. So Sonic decides, okay, I'm going after everybody. Tails, stay here and come up with a plan. I'll talk to you later. And he jumps through the portal and ends up in our second level, Emerald Coast Clash, where we immediately start off on the dock running from a whale.
Yeah, of course. Because we can't stop talking about Sonic Adventure here, and
it's true.
Let's give back to it. Because the Sonic fandom never lets it go, and rightfully so. If you're going to have memorable moments from Sonic represented here, might as well go back to Emerald Coast.
Again, not to date our recording, but I can only imagine that Sonic Adventure played a part in influencing those orcas out there that just keep destroying people's boats for seemingly no reason. And power to them.
Yeah, I like how, Sonic is still very aware of the fact that, this is all very familiar. Like, the first thing he says when he, shows up is,
"Whoa, what's going on? I'm getting deja vu. Have I been here before?"
Then the orca shows up.
Yup, now I remember.
So this is where Sonic gets the first of the vehicle builds, which is the Sonic Speedster, based on the Speedstar car from the All-Stars racing games. And again, like, these figures are ones that you have to literally build yourself. Like, they don't come prepackaged or anything. So the first time you play that level, it will come up with instructions on screen that you page through on how to build the car. And it's just a really nice touch. Like, part of the reason why I think that they kind of really had a good feel on like the stuff that would make people who are building these, who like have these physical things, really develop more of an attachment to them. And the cool thing is that all of the vehicles in this game can be upgraded and actually have like alternate forms that they can be built into, and they have official instructions on how to reconstruct them into these other forms. So like the Speedster can be rebuilt into the Blue Typhoon, which is a little hovercraft thing, and into a Motobug.
Ah, nice.
Oh, cool.
So Sonic gets the Speedster and uses that to pass a bunch of different obstacles he wouldn't be able to otherwise, like little boost ramps and vehicle chargers where you got to drive over a treadmill to build up power, stuff like that. Emerald Coast, all of the enemies you expect are there. There's some buzz bombers, yeah, but there's also like coconuts and some little rhino guys. Eggman's taunting you as you go, talking about,
I'll get you, or my name isn't Dr. Dr. Eggman.
Because,
it's
sort of thing you hear from a British studio, or maybe even like old fans, really.
Yeah, the old curmudgeons like us.
Yes.
There's a lot of grind rails in this area, which I really like. But Sonic gets to the end and gets into a fight with an unnamed Eggman mech because he hasn't come up with a name for it yet, but ends up like it fires a bunch of missiles at him that destroy, the surrounding cliffside. He rebuilds it into a fan that blows the missiles back and hits Eggman. There's a lot of really good banter between Sonic and Eggman in this fight. I like it a lot. Eggman opens up another portal. We go through another special stage, get another emerald, and emerge in the Sonic 2 Death Egg, or the Formidable Foe Fiasco stage, as it's called in here, where Eggman is ready and waiting with three different Sonic doppelganger robots ready to take Sonic on. We start off with quote-unquote Robo-Sonic, the Mecha-Sonic version from Sonic 2, suitably chunky and kind of slow. It's very good. Sonic beats him by having him crash into Eggman's hovercraft repeatedly. I like this a lot. It's cool seeing like them go for the deep cuts and bringing back some of the older Sonic bosses.
Yeah, and might as well, because I think that's like the first time I'd seen that guy in a long time. The Mecha Sonic from Sonic 2. Or Silver Sonic, as many of us called him. This is long before he got his own figure and everything. It's nice. It's just nice being reminded. Oh yeah, I'd say they haven't forgotten. Sega might have, but these guys have not forgotten about the classics.
It's cool, and then they immediately up the ante by bringing in Mecha Sonic from Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
He doesn't turn super, but he does fire things out of his chest. He does all these little cool things that you remember from those boss battles.
It's cool, like, going back and looking over the boss fights and seeing all these different versions of a Metal Sonic on here, especially the final one being Metal Sonic. And I look at this and I'm like, man, these would actually be like really neat little figures to be able to either somehow build or just have on hand. These Legoized versions of classic Sonic bosses.
Boy, they sure would be.
Yep.
Only they did.
Like outside the head sculpts, which I think are bespoke, I don't think there's anything that would stop you from making some of these. We might see some of them down the line, but that's a subject we will get to a little bit later. So Sonic beats Mega Sonic as well, and Eggman, of course, pulls in Metal Sonic, apparently from another dimension where he defeated Sonic. Although you wouldn't know it based on how easily Sonic takes him down.
Yeah. The idea of Metal Sonic actually beating Sonic, it'd have to be a Metallics, wouldn't it? That's what my brain goes to.
It'd have to be some sort of weird dimension where Sonic from the Sonic Bible was still a brown hedgehog, but Robotnik already...
Oh my god, that's perfect though.
Yeah.
He went to a dimension to beat Sonic before he turned into... Well, he was actually an actual normal hedgehog. Man.
Yeah, normal Sonic's like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. I just wanted to get something from behind McDonald's.
I was just training for the Olympics, dude.
So yeah, naturally, Sonic takes him down too. There's some fun bits where more portals open, throws out a bunch of stuff, including a Sega Genesis. Sonic chases after Eggman, but something else pops out of a portal that will become relevant near the end of our little escapade. But once again, into another special stage, get another Chaos Emerald, and we emerge in Metropolis Zone Mayhem, which is... I think might be the longest of the segments in this particular level, because it's like vertically scaling Metropolis from Sonic 2, but it's I feel like it's a much more slower paced and a little bit larger area than a lot of the other zones, including this level.
And if that isn't a true representation of the Metropolis zone from Sonic 2, I don't know what is, because that level certainly did lag in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do remember when you were playing this, you were streaming this for us, it did seem like you were spending a long time in this area. I mean, and I don't know, it seemed fine, but it went on for a while, and I think there was points where you had to because one of the things about LEGO Dimensions is that you still have access to other characters, like from other franchises, to help you get across certain obstacles, and I'm pretty sure you had to bring in a few characters just to get through some of those.
Yeah, like you can get through everything in the Sonic level pack with just Sonic and the vehicles included, aside from, every level is going to have certain collectibles that you can only get if you have another character with a specific ability, because they want you to spend money, of course.
Right. But no, you were yanking out like Gandalf the Grey and Raven from Teen Titans to get through some of these sections.
I didn't have much patience. I wanted to get through the level as fast as possible so I could show you guys everything. But this is also where we get our second vehicle. Tails calls in over the one of the terminals in there, but there's also some E-Series robots that show up to block Sonic's way. So he has to, quote-unquote, hack into them to get them out of the way. And by hack, I mean dropping an Eggman item box onto one of their heads and making them angry and shoot each other.
That might have been my favorite bit. I completely forgot about that, and they're really funny. They have a little tete-a-tete back and forth.
Ow! Hey, why did you just do that? I did nothing. Stop lying. You totally did. You're the one lying. Stupid. Ouch. Hey, that one hurt. I win. Oh, wait.
It's very good.
Doing those little Sonic X style robot voices as well, which I thought was nice.
Yes, fit this game much better than the show itself.
Yeah, but once they're out of the way, Tails sends over the instructions on how to build the Tornado, the other included vehicle. Obligatory, but it's a welcome inclusion. And you can rebuild that if you upgrade it into a crab meat and the egg catcher boss from Casino Night Zone.
I know that's the main reason I'm glad I kept that, because I want to dig that out and add it to my other official Sonic Legos.
One of the little touches I really like is that normally in the Tornado, most of the characters would just sit in the pilot's seat and pilot it. But if it's Sonic standing on it, then Sonic uses it, then he will stand on the wing and Tails will pilot it, just like you would want him to. It's a great touch.
And everything was right with the world.
And it's got all the appropriate music cues as well. Like the first time you get on the plane, the Sonic Adventure 1 version of Believe in Myself starts playing. It's great. They get into a dogfight with Eggman. It's really kind of drawn out because you have to do it in phases, and he keeps pulling up a shield that you have to find shield generators around and disable so you can do the next part, which is part of the reason why this level goes on so long. Once you get through that, another special stage, another Chaos Emerald, and you'll emerge in Marble Zone Meltdown. This is where, I feel like the writers had a lot of personal beefs to get out of the way. They bring in Omo Chow to do the typical tutorial thing, and it's great because it's Laura Bailey doing the voice just like in Generations, and it is, but it's a lot of jokes about Omo Chow saying fairly obvious things like
pushing boxes makes them move,
or stuff like that.
Fire is hot. That sort of thing.
Fire is hot. Be careful.
This is a character assassination of Omo Chow if I've ever seen
not
one.
wrong. The whole time, Sonic is just getting increasingly aggravated.
Thanks! And here I was thinking I'd just stroll through that lava.
Please stop.
Yes, the power gloves are yellow, Omo Chow.
They're yellow!
That's a joke for just us.
And if you look closely, one of the portals does drop the Tails doll out, so they know.
Hey, a Ghostbuster! I saw this creepy doll that kind of looks like my friend Tails. Think you could take a look?
Yeah.
I know, it looks so cute, too.
So Sonic gets through most of Marble Zone, all the while Omo Chow talking his ear off, and finally faces off against Eggman again, this time with a big, like, laser, like, spinning Eggmobile that's firing lasers in every direction. Takes it down real quick, and then immediately another special stage, another Chaos Emerald, and we emerge in, like, the area between dimensions where Sonic reunites with all his friends. There's a great bit of Shadow emerges holding a gun, and Knuckles is just like, what are you doing with that? And throws it away.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the writers clearly having their biases.
I know. I love that it's just a generic Lego gun as well.
Yeah.
And Sonic's like, I still need to find this last Chaos Emerald. And Big's like, I saw it.
There were lots of walls and saws and water.
And cue my favorite joke in the whole pack, where it's just rapid zoom in on Sonic's shrinking pupils as his vision is suddenly clouded with, like, water and the walls of the labyrinth, and the drowning theme is playing in the background. It's great. I love it. I totally stole it for an episode of Sonic F.
Yep.
I love that in that bit. It even has, I think you even said it, the 16-bit like walls and sprites and everything. I mean, they've been recreated for the game, but like all that comes up. So now that I think about it, that's just adding more credence to the somehow somewhat relative history of Sonic's memory flashbacks are all in 16-bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of how Sonic sees the world. Like, when you leave him alone, he does the foot tap thing, reclines, and eventually just completely falls asleep, and his little, like, thought bubble dream will show him running, like, in his 16-bit sprite. So I guess that Sonic just sees the world in, Genesis graphics.
I mean, a lot of people just can't shake the memory of the old days.
Yeah.
I mean, hence this podcast.
Yeah. So Sonic takes another portal to the Labyrinth Zone, which is more of a blend of, like, Sonic 1 Labyrinth and Lost Labyrinth from Sonic 4 Episode 1.
Even down to having the Lost Labyrinth music playing in the background, so
yeah,
it's fine.
I don't know whether I would, prefer that, or, like, if they had done another recreation track.
I mean, like, if we're going to lay all our cards on the table, that might be the least offensive Sonic 4 Episode 1 track, so...
Yeah, like that or Mad Gear Act 1, maybe. Those are the only ones I can think of.
Like, yes, but also anything that reminds me of Sonic 4 is... Actually, you know what? They meant this place to be terrifying. You know what? They might as well reference that.
Mm-hmm.
The Labyrinth Zone is basically, I feel like it's almost a little bit easier than the actual Labyrinth Zone, partly because it's shorter, but also because I feel like you don't spend as much time underwater as in normal Labyrinth Zone. It's a lot easier to get air bubbles, stuff like that. And at one point, there is a secret area you can access with another character where you get transported to Breakfast Kingdom from Adventure Time and have to save Big the Cat from drowning in a big cup of coffee. Because why not? Sonic finally emerges from the labyrinth, heads back between dimensions to meet up with his friends, where Tails reveals Eggman's rebuilt the Death Egg again. Leaving his friends behind, he and Tails take off to do a big old siege on the Death Egg, land in the hangar, where Eggman is waiting with, surprise, surprise, the Death Egg robot.
Whoa! And I think it came up on our Death Egg episode that I think it literally is the model of the Death Egg from Generations.
The Death Egg is definitely the Generations model, but the Death Egg robot is fully reconstructed using Lego bricks, and it's a different configuration of bricks from something we're going to talk about later, so that's cool. And, like, they even kind of lean into the fact that it's been done before. Like, Eggman even says,
"Oh, Eggman, you genius! Who would have expected a Death Egg robot?"
Well, anybody? It's like the fourth time you've used it.
Wait, really? How did the others go?
Not well.
Oh. Well, this time it will not fail! Computer, full power!
Like, they know. And yes, it was the fourth time he'd used it, because Sonic 2, Sonic 4 Episode 1, and Sonic Generations had all come out right before that. So, they're doing their homework.
If you really want to get into it, technically there was a giant robot in Sonic and Knuckles as well, but I guess it's not the same thing.
Different model.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned it earlier, but I've played a couple of the Lego games, not all the way to completion, but just like bits and pieces here and there. And I genuinely enjoyed just the humor throughout all of them. Like, as we were saying, that sort of irreverent, like tongue-in-cheek style of humor, and it's never like mean or anything. It's very like lighthearted and silly and goofy, and it fits even more in this Sonic like entire level pack. And I just it's just a lot of fun to experience through this way.
Yeah, like the humor is pretty spot on the whole time, which is true mostly of like the whole game. Like I think there's a scene in the Mission Impossible Lego pack where what's his name is, sitting like hacking on the elevator, and then it starts moving, and he's about to get crushed. And then in the Lego version, they cut away and show like a red splattering on someone's jacket, but it turns out that they just squeezed ketchup too hard on their hot dog. Just little things like that.
Poor Lego Emilio Estevez.
But yeah, Sonic takes down the Lego Death Egg robot in pretty short order. They're doing the thing where it's pretty similar to the way you fight him in Generations, where he'll shoot out the hands. You got to jump on them to knock them back, temporarily stunning him, and that brings down his shield long enough for you to attack. But, after delivering the last hit, Eggman immediately retreats, not because he's losing to Sonic, but because he sees the giant Chaos Zero, who was teased after that Metal Sonic fight, has emerged and has gotten the Keystone device stuck inside him. So now he's got elemental powers, which is a cool thing that I wish they would do with real Chaos.
Yes.
Like, this is all very cool. Like, we didn't mention it, but Chaos himself is not actually made out of bricks. He seems to be, like, initially made out of water, but with little bricks watercolored bricks floating around inside him to ostensibly make him a Lego Chaos, which I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the switching between elements is like, why haven't they done that in the main games before? That's really cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to, we're seeing, in Superstars, they're giving the Chaos Emeralds unique powers. So maybe we'll see that more going forwards and give Chaos a little extra oomph in case they bring him back.
A little something. I like that even Chaos's brain is just like a big Lego piece.
Yeah. And Sonic, he's doing his best to fight him off, doing different tricks to try and counter Chaos's elemental powers, but he's honestly not doing much damage as things start off. And Eggman is like,
Sorry, that's the only thing that can power my defenses. You're just gonna have to do without it. I'm sure you'll find a way. Then afterwards, when you're tired, I can finally defeat you and take all of the Chaos Emeralds back.
Oh crap, did I leave the microphone on? Yeah, the boss fight goes on for a while until Tails detects something moving around inside the Death Egg. And surprise, Amy has been doing her own thing the whole time, knocks out Eggman, grabs the emerald and throws it to Sonic. And immediately, obligatory transformation to Super Sonic.
Chaos! I'm taking you down like it's 1999!
And then the fight is pretty much over at that point. Sonic just immediately starts ripping into Chaos super fast. And unfortunately, after taking down Chaos, it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger with Amy, waving in congratulations to Sonic until the Death Egg kind of tips over and ends up falling out. Sonic uses the Keystone device to create a portal to catch her, and Eggman retreats to his own, and he's like,
It's not over, my prickly pal!
Tails, I couldn't have done it without you.
And it just sort of ends there because there was actually going to be, as part of, I believe, the third year of content, there was going to be another story mode added that would have taken that and a bunch of other kind of hanging threads from some of the other packs. Like the Portal pack ends with Wheatley and Shell finding Black Mesa stuff and then going through a portal. The Midway Arcade pack ends with Guy turning into another form of Lord Vortek, the Gary Oldman villain. Stuff like that would have all come together in this final story, but because they had to cancel this entire third year, it just ended up never happening, unfortunately.
Man.
Which is too bad.
It was especially weird how Shadow came in and just punched Sonic in the face and then it ended.
Hey, by the time this episode comes out, we'll actually find out the conclusion to that. So,
Allegedly.
well, we'll see.
They could just spend 8 episodes doing absolutely nothing. But yeah, that is where the Sonic Dimensions level ends. But it is not the end of the Sonic Lego pack, as every pack comes with, every character has access to a big themed open world area based on their franchise. And Sonic is no exception. There is a big Sonic the Hedgehog world that is made up of little bits and pieces of different Genesis era zones. So like there's Green Hill, there's Chemical Plant, there's Aquatic Ruin, there's Metropolis, there's Carnival Night, there's Ice Cap, there's Sindopolis, there's Lava Reef, there's the Death Egg, there's the Emerald Altar from Angel Island, and there's a little bit of Hidden Palace even. It's cool seeing all of these different Sonic environments brought together into this cohesive little mini world. They've also built it as like this big open space that is perfect for Sonic to just run around in, go off loops, launch off ramps, hit boosters to accelerate up tracks, stuff like that. It's just very cool.
It's kind of stuff I would have liked as a kid, you know? It's sort of like a little Sonic world that you can run around in, but also adds the things from the games, you know? These are Sonic fans. They're doing what we want from it.
Yeah. I think it was Jake who compared it to like a souped up version of Sonic World from Sonic Jam.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if I can make another comparison, it seems that Traveler's Tales was really reaching out to new frontiers when they made this hub world.
It was 6 years earlier.
Oh, you.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing all these different spots brought together. There's a lot of stuff you can do as well. Like every open world area has like these little building sites that you can rebuild things using the different studs you've collected. So like you can rebuild Tails' workshop. There's a little Eggman like kiddie ride thing you can ride in to get a gold brick. That's just like every time you do a QuickTime event, it says like. It's Mike Pollock voicing one of the most memed Eggman lines. So, like, there's a...
Get on this! You know what they say, the more the merrier! It's no use! Give up!
It's very good. There's a little mini game you can rebuild where you, like, are underwater in Aquatic Ruin and can build big and froggy turrets to shoot at passing choppers. There's a jukebox, like in every open world, where you can listen to music from any of the different franchises. So if you want to run around Green Hill listening to, you know, Still Alive or the Ghostbusters theme, that is totally your prerogative.
This is full of reference. Like, it's one thing to have Sonic references that everyone knows, but this is Sonic nerd shit, like throughout all of this. Like, especially the character dialogue here, if you get to the little missions.
Oh, yeah. The character dialogue in particular, like, you know, there's all 6 of the characters from the main campaign also show up as quest givers around the open world. They each have their own individual quests. So, like, for Tails' quest, first you have to rebuild his workshop that he somehow managed to trap himself in. I didn't get to show you guys because it was already built, but when you rebuild it, you do get a little clip of Omo Chow singing Believe in Myself very badly.
I wanna fly high so I can reach the highest of... Wait, can you hear someone yelling?
But yeah, once you rebuild Tails' workshop, he's like, I detected these weird readings going around. I need your help investigating them. And it turns out to be 3 different robot generators from Sonic CD that need to be hacked and destroyed. And every time you destroy them, it leaves a little flower in its place, like you would expect. Everybody's making little references in dialogue to past games and stuff. Knuckles, he wants to beat up a bunch of egg pawns that are trying to steal the Master Emerald. The whole time he's referencing like lyrics from his different raps in Sonic Adventure 2.
It's great. Travis Willingham obviously listened to all of these because he's got like the cadence down and everything.
Yeah, I'm sure they played him the clips ahead of time.
Yeah.
Here I come, rougher than the rest of them, the best of them, tougher than leather.
Because it's spot on. Like, my favorite is...
Give up the emerald or die. I don't love you. Sorry. I don't know what came over me there.
Amy's is You get kidnapped by a doppelganger you true love one time and nobody takes you seriously anymore. She's listing off all these other things she's done, you know.
It's like they forgot the time I helped that birdie find its family. Or the time I broke Sonic out of prison. Oh, and let's not forget the time I infiltrated the egg fleet to save Chocola and Froggy. I mean, what's a girl gotta do to be taken seriously around here?
And so she's like, I'm going to prove myself once again. You're going to help me rescue a bunch of animals from these robots. Like, it's a very Boom Amy kind of characterization where she's, you know, definitely the go-getter of the team, trying to maybe a little bit more gung-ho, a little bit more like, I can do everything the boys can do. Stop trying to leave me out of stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and that sort of like acknowledges like her history of being kind of left. It's like that Boom Amy sort of go getter, but with that sort of like the baggage of Amy's history in Sonic.
I know it really feels like it's taken Sega themselves this long with Amy being added to the Origins collection and being fully playable in Superstars to where they're finally like, we're sorry, Amy.
We're sorry, women.
We're finally drinking our respect women juice.
Speaking of women, this is the first time in a long time we hear Shadow actually reference Maria is in this Lego's Dimension game.
Yeah.
His little
Yeah,
quest.
it sure is.
Yes, I've saved the world a few times. Yes, I'm the ultimate life form. But that's not enough. The only true way to inspire people to live their dreams is through the medium of flower arrangement.
This sort of like ironic humor used for Shadow is the kind of thing that this like did this predate his like Twitter takeover persona that we often listen to, because it reminds me of that a little
Yeah, I don't think they brought in Shadow until either the Forces takeover or, well, this would have been the year before Forces, so this would have been maybe at around the same time.
Well, either way, it's Kirk Thornton playing him, so you get that vibe. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I prefer, like, Kirk Thornton's Shadow is, like, doing those kind of things.
Yes, I think we've said that before, is that my favorite Shadow of his, which I know is contentious, we've been over that. I love Kirk Thornton as an actor. But yeah, the kind of more laid back but silly, like, Twitter takeover Shadow is just what hits the best for me. Also, God, I cannot get the image of a Maria Robotnik being accosted by gun soldiers and then just exploding into Lego bricks like in the game.
Great, now I've got that image too, and it will be with me for the rest of my days. Yeah, I think the part that works most about the Shadow Quest is that, you know, he treats it, you know, as absolutely seriously as you expect Shadow the Hedgehog to treat anything. You know, he's talking about...
It all starts with this. An arrangement containing the ultimate flowers. I think even I'm starting to feel more hopeful. These flowers have provided the ultimate inspiration.
even doing, you know, the quotes when you place the flowers correctly, you know.
Perfect. Ultimate victory.
Just really leaning into it. And then, meanwhile, Eggman has his own master plan where he's like,
I heard that Orphans really love chili dogs. So what I need you to do is find all the chili dogs in the world and bring them to me. I'd do it myself, but I just don't want to, steal all your glory.
That is a Sonic F-ass take.
Yes.
Like that.
Yes.
It's the sort of thing you would write. Oh, man.
like this might be some of the best Eggman dialogue in the game as well, because the whole time Eggman has, you know, secretly implanted you with a radio to keep tabs on your progress. You know, completely ignoring any ethical implications there. But also every time you grab a chili dog, he's, you know, making bad jokes or talking about stuff he's seeing on the internet, being completely distracted, being mad that Orbot unfriended him on Eggbooks and things like that.
I love that at one point he just says Yosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah.
I remember us perking up and going like, dang, that is a deep, deep cut. Acknowledging that weird translation quibble.
I love that the quest, you know, ends with him saying, "Ha! I fooled you, and I'm going to use these to trap Sonic. Here's a reward for helping me, but know that, you are aided in Sonic the Hedgehog's downfall." And then, you walk away a little bit.
I hope nobody thinks to just make more chili dogs, or this plan is pretty much a bust.
And then it does end, of course, with Big the Cat's quest, which is called, and I'm not joking, Big's Big Fishing Adventure 4.
Yeah.
That might be the deepest deep cut in this entire game.
Yes.
You have to be on like 6 different levels of Sonic fandom to understand where that came from, especially not in the year 2023.
Stay tuned for our next episode where we go into the Big's Big Fishing Adventure iceberg.
When there is more to report on the Big's Big Fishing Adventure front, if it ever happens, we'll be the first to, let you know. Yeah, like it's a lot of, Big just being like, "Oh, I miss my Pollywog pal." You have to jump around like 3 or 4 different places trying to find Froggy. But it's cute. Like it ends with Big just chilling out in Carnival Night Zone with Froggy.
Oh, Froggy, it's a windy and sunny day. Perfect for lazy days, living in paradise with you. Oh,
it's very cute. But also there is a occasional Easter egg line where Big's phone vibrates and he's got a call from
Sonic. Who's that?
Don't answer it.
Don't trust that
don't
number.
Encourage him. He's already got too much of a presence in the fandom. You don't need to. Oh man.
I modded those shirts in Sonic Forces to say other things.
Good.
Thank you.
But like we said, it is a little weird having that voice coming out of him because I guess we're so used to Kyle Bear's Big at this point.
I mean,
the softer, sort of like quieter, bit, the softer, quieter Big instead of the Big is a bit more like this,
instead of the more kind of zen Big, bro.
Yes, I remember on our Frontiers, we talked about even by the time we got to Team Sonic Racing, it was like, okay, we have Big has evolved into a much easier to listen to character. And I think Kyle's performance is part of that. Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, were you about to bring up the Sonic Colors DS?
Yeah, the thing is, at this point in 2016, Kyle had only done the voice for Colors DS.
Oh, hey. Amazing. Sorry, buddy.
The only other time Big spoke was in, his little cameo in All-Stars Racing Transformed, and for that, they just reused some of his All-Stars Racing lines. And so it's we say we were used to Kyle Bear Big, but he'd only really done it once, so...
Well, at the time, it wasn't that weird. I mean, right now, post the Big's big renaissance in Sonic media of sorts.
Yeah, post Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Force or Sonic Frontiers, yeah, there's more Big now, but back then, it really just was the one time 6 years prior.
Maybe that's why they thought they could just bring in another guy.
Yeah, I guess I guess I can understand why those wires might have gotten crossed. But yeah, there's a lot of really funny little dialogue bits. Sonic has unique interactions with a bunch of other characters when he's in the same area as them. If you have another Sonic figure, he'll do the whole
"Found you, faker"
thing from Sonic Adventure 2.
I'll make you eat those words. Hey, that's my line.
Stuff like that.
That's great.
He's got 5 or 6 unique lines when entering and exiting the area.
Gotta go fast. Oh yeah, this is happening. That sounded better in my head.
He's got an...
I'm out of here.
When he's just hanging around the Sonic world, he'll say...
Man, I can really feel the sunshine. It's brightening up my day.
I think some of my favorites are when he is in the same area as Lumpy Space Princess from Adventure Time. He'll be like...
Lumpy Space Princess, huh? Last time I met a princess, I don't quite remember. Never mind.
And then... Of course, I'm glad that somebody actually decided to canonize this. When he's in the same area as Bart Simpson, he immediately goes for...
Hey, Bart, remember, if you see a gold brick lying around, just take it. Take it, take it, take it, take it. Take it!
A wonderful callback to Sonic in Marge Be Not Proud.
God, the deep cuts, man. Seriously.
Yeah. There's a couple of fun interactions when Sonic gets into another character's vehicle or when somebody else gets in his as well. Like when he gets into Kit from Knight Rider.
Hello, Sonic. Did you hear that your friend Shadow tried to buy me? I suppose I must be his type of vehicle.
When E.T. gets into Sonic's car.
Got to go fast.
There's just a lot of really fun little things here and there. Like, it's clear that a lot of love went into every aspect of this. And I'm glad that, you know, they really treat it with a lot of respect and clearly a lot of affection, you know, maybe even more so than many of the other IPs in Lego Dimensions, which, you know, not for nothing, there's a lot of really good representation for some of the other IPs too. Like the Doctor Who pack lets you literally turn into any version of the Doctor with all of their TARDISes included. The Back to the Future world lets you teleport between 1985, 1885, and 2015.
Nice.
Like the Ghostbusters pack lets you play as any of the 4 Ghostbusters. Stuff like that. Just a lot of really, really welcome touches from people who clearly care about all of these franchises and just really digging deep on them. Maybe it's my own personal bias shining in, but I feel like Sonic might have been the franchise that got the most love out of all of them.
Well, it's because you get all the references.
I mean, that's true.
Not a single one goes over your head in this one.
I do have to mention that, you know, the Omo Chow humor does continue into the adventure world. There's like an Omo Chow for every single area in the game, and they're all the dialogue is pretty funny.
Welcome to the chemical plant zone. The water here is safe to drink and has no negative impact on brain activity. I'm on my crowbar watermelon Friday already!
So we were talking about Big earlier, and I know this is kind of unrelated to Lego Dimensions, but I just had the thought of, you know, Big has been having his renaissance. Amy is kind of having a new, like, respectable renaissance of herself. I wonder if we're having kind of like a Sonic Heroes Team Rose renaissance, and maybe Cream is going to have her own renaissance too.
I don't think Cream is ever going to make her way out of the C list again, unfortunately.
We're going to have a lot of sour cream fans.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry, what are you saying, Jake?
I was just going to joke that we're not going to have like a deep character study moment in a game of Cream saying, you know, I'm only like 6 and my life has been threatened so many times.
Well, I mean, the closest we've gotten to that is like IDW Cream.
Yeah, I was going to say that seems like a thing that Ian would do at some point.
Although, you know, apparently like it's all technically in a canon line now, so
yeah. Well, yeah, so she's still processing that.
Yeah.
She's just gonna have she's gonna be like really like, if she appears in the next game, she's gonna be like really cheerful, but there's gonna be one moment she's just staring off into space and like, Cream, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. And you're like, and they never acknowledge it again, but
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So there is a little bit of other Sonic stuff in there. Like every Year 2 pack will also unlock a multiplayer bonus arena. So Sonic gets one based on Carnival Night Zone. It's fine. Like I honestly never played the multiplayer arena stuff much back in the day.
I think I remember you streaming that for us though, and I thought the level design looked pretty neat.
But yeah, even before the Sonic pack came out, we got a little bit of Sonic unexpectedly in the Ghostbusters 2016 story pack. Like there's a level where they're fighting a bunch of haunted parade balloons like in the movie, and there's a boss fight against a haunted Ice King from Adventure Time balloon, a haunted Stay Puft Marshmallow Man balloon, and a big haunted Eggman balloon, which was our first look at the Sonic representation in game. It was naturally defeated, you know, fittingly enough, by inflating a haunted Sonic balloon that just attacked him.
Yeah, because as we know, those Sonic balloons do damage. Watch out, cops.
When you mentioned giant balloons, I thought there was going to be a reference to the Sonic balloon popping.
No, he's the one doing the popping now.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the last time we'd see any Lego Sonic stuff for a while, until just a couple of years ago when someone I actually know, Viv Grinnell, aka Toaster Girl, submitted a Sonic proposal to the Lego Ideas crowdsourcing platform. Basically, what Lego Ideas is people can submit suggestions for future Lego sets and themes. Basically, they have a tool to let you give you basically a virtual bricks to construct a set and figures and all that stuff. You can only use pre-made Lego pieces, no bespoke stuff. So now that there was a Sonic piece from Lego Dimensions to use to build the figure, that allowed her to basically come up with a set that was originally going to be based on Sonic Mania, using Green Hill Zone, some of the hard-boiled heavies, a couple enemies, stuff like that. And she submitted to this platform, and the way it works is that Lego has to, look at the availability of the license, how costly it would be to produce. They'll have a voting portion where people can, vote on whether they want to see this turn into a real set. And lo and behold, in early 2021, it actually, passed certification and was slated to go into production and end up fully coming out, admittedly just as a generic Sonic set minus the Mania branding, in January of 2022. And it's really friggin' cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Mania stuff was pretty elaborate and really freaking cool on its own.
Yeah.
I would love the stuff that she put in there. But yeah, what we actually got is a very cool set.
Like, every time I, look at that set, I'm like, oh, this is so good. I would love if they would do more of these with more zones and stuff like that. Which apparently that set must have sold real, real well, because literally just a few months ago, we got the announcement that we're actually getting 4 new, Lego Sonic sets as part of an official theme that will literally have just come out a month ago as of the time you're listening to this podcast. Mm-hmm. And I am so freaking excited.
Oh, that Tales Workshop is so adorable.
It really is.
If I was limited to one, that would be the one in a heartbeat. It looks so good.
And it's interesting that the models for the characters are actually they're not exactly the same, but they are pretty close to the way they looked in Dimensions. So, that might have been another case of them kind of reusing what they had made for the game and then tweaking it a little bit for the physical space.
So the Dimensions legacy lives on in that way.
A little bit.
We may not have got the proper ending, but well, we got what we really wanted, which was little Sonic figures to play around with.
Yeah, I assumed that was never going to happen. That this would just be a one-off thing for Dimensions, which is part of the reason why I was like, even if nobody, my friends aren't going to play the game, I still want to buy that pack for people I know, because it's this is just a really fun thing to have, as a little tchotchke on the shelf or whatever. That's the reason. I had done a similar thing with the Portal pack even before I had gotten the game, just because I wanted that to sit on my desk or whatever. Just this little Lego shell and companion cube and turret. But now, not only did we get one set, we're getting multiple sets, which hopefully will continue on even longer, and I am all for it. Hey, CyberLink chiming in here for a minute. Since we recorded this episode, there's been a lot of movement on the Lego Sonic front. As it turns out, not only did we just recently get Lego Sonic characters added to the Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces mobile games, but we'll also be getting Lego character skins as DLC in Sonic Superstars in just a couple weeks. It looks like the special edition will come with skins for Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, plus some Lego-themed battle mode stages, and a skin for Lego Eggman is being offered as a pre-order bonus, but a Lego Sonic skin will be free DLC for everybody, so keep an eye out for those.
It's the thing, isn't it? We're all old now, and we're seeing lots of the stuff that we wanted when we were kids getting released. But I'm glad for it. I'm glad we've got something to give this generation other than Broken Down Planet and everything else that comes with it.
Just let me have this.
We need to invest in a sad version of the Radical Left Highway stinger now.
The Sadical Left Highway.
Sadical Highway.
But yeah, that about covers the Sonic Legacy, as it were. And, starting with Dimensions and now to official Lego sets. It's been a long and interesting journey, but I'm glad that it's one that we have reached this point on, which, it begs the question, well, A, do we think that the Lego Sonic line is going to have long legs past this initial set of 4, the same way that other game-based Lego sets like Lego Minecraft and Lego Mario have?
Probably not. They've got really little stubby legs.
Yeah, but those legs can move fast.
Yeah.
I do. It sure does seem with like the current line of Sonic toys that they found the proper balance between like I think kids like these toys, man. Like kids like going to the grocery store with whatever and seeing like the new Sonic thing. So it's kind of hard for me not to think that they especially Lego. Like Lego is so universal and so like. Man, just like a genius level like balance between just being fun and like investing in licenses, and I'm pretty optimistic that we would see more after this, definitely.
Well, as long as people are crazy about Sonic,
I don't know. I'm skeptical about that.
Who is Sonic? I think, okay, so me personally, I think that we've already mentioned that the first Lego set sold really well since we're getting these new sets. And I think if these also sell well, and honestly, if you, Luke, spearhead the charge on Twitter and like tweet out to Lego and to Traveler's Tale saying, hey, we want the full version of the Sonic Lego game, that maybe, just maybe, we'll get the entire story that we deserve for a Lego Sonic.
I mean, that's the other question is, would you want another take on, a Lego Sonic game? And, if so, should it be, the traditional Lego game format like Dimensions, like all the other Lego games? Or do you think it would be better off if they tried something completely different from the usual format? Like, would it even be, TT Games working on it?
God, good question.
Because like they are no longer the exclusive makers of Lego games anymore. Like there's that Lego Brawls game, the Builder's Journey game, stuff like that. Like it is no longer solely their domain.
Well, I like what they did with it, with Sonic, because they care about Sonic, so I wouldn't mind if they picked him up again, to be honest with you.
I mean, Traveler's Tales really does have a time-tested legacy of doing great work for both Sonic and for Lego, and I think if anybody were to make a full-fledged game out of it, they should be the first ones in line to do so. And hopefully, especially with, kind of a Sonic renaissance that's been happening in the past, I'd say 10 years to be generous, I think they could probably get a little extra funding to make it a little bit extra fancier. Maybe finally get the loop-de-loops to work right.
That's the important part.
Yeah. I'm maybe a little more on the skeptical side just because maybe it's because I was the only one who actually was able to play the game, but some of the, it's really feels jank trying to control Sonic in some of those stages. And there's even to this day, those Lego games have a lot of little bugs and other jank just because they have to get them out so quickly. And, they all do kind of blend together. So I think that I might want maybe somebody else to give it a try just to do something different with it, take a different approach with it than just the traditional Lego, like the Traveler's Tales cut and paste method of open environments, standard levels, break stuff, rebuild stuff, do some basic ability puzzles, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, maybe with the current Sega focus on keeping most of the Sonic canon, if you will, aligned, wouldn't it be interesting if there was Sonic gets transported to the Lego world? Instead of him sending someone straight to Minecraft, he gets sent straight to Lego. So it actually counts as part of Sonic's continuity. But now we're in Lego. That's my way of sort of self-awareness, I guess. But yeah, that time Sonic went to Legoland, not the real one. But that's Lego.
It certainly is.
Sonic.
And I'm not going to lie, it was fun to revisit something that I was deep into a few years back and kind of look at it from fresh eyes and be like, no, there's still a lot of really cool stuff in this.
Yep. It was very much nice to relive that, and I might still have to dig mine out just to play it myself. And yeah, like I said, it's also a nice personal memory because you got it for me, and you're my friend, and it was a cool present.
Oh my goodness!
Well, I mean, like, I never got to play it. I never had any of these things. I just got to watch it from the sidelines and not have to pay for anything. So I'm pretty content.
Yeah, no, I think you ended up winning in the end.
Same here. Although I would like to play that Lego Dimensions Sonic pack now. After watching you play it, I'm like, that looks actually fun. I want to do that.
Yeah, I'm really hope that someday somebody figures out a way to, get that running through Fair Means or Foul for a wider audience.
Well, I hope someone assembles that Lego joke. I don't know. All right, it's time to put all the toys away, I think. There we go. So how do we summarize all this? How do we feel about Lego Sonic in general? Cool. Sorry.
That was a good timing, actually.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of a really funny Lego Island quote that's relevant to the topic.
I think the Sonic level pack of Lego Dimensions, as we've said before, is a wonderfully constructed and lovingly created, just homage.
Constructed.
Homage and just like sort of joke library of Sonic's history that everybody can just really truly enjoy. And I think because it's Lego, I think it's very accessible to people who may have just a passing knowledge of Sonic and still be able to enjoy it. But I think it's honestly like a really good, I think it deserves its place in sort of like the Sonic video game Hall of Fame, even if it's part of a larger video game.
I mean, it's no Sonic Blast, but it's a great addition to the franchise in its own way.
I think I've learned that you really can move a mountain if you do it brick by brick.
Brick by brick. There we go.
All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure you had any more, because you're like the only Lego person here, essentially. But that about covers it for Sonic Lego. Interesting topic that we just spent a while talking about. No, for real. I thought it was interesting. So now we are out of here. What was I going to say again? Oh, right. So if you want to find us on the internet, well, you can find me in particular at Falero all across the internet. That's FAULERRO.
Love that jingle. You can find me at Rock the Jake on just a bunch of different socials, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And you can find me on Twitch as Mr. Rock the Jake.
You can find me on Twitter at CyberLink420. I can't guarantee that I'm going to tweet a bunch about Lego Dimensions again, but the possibility always exists.
And you can find me around the internet under Game Buddy, sometimes with a 123, and you can find me on Twitter at GreatJobJeremy. That's GR and the number 8.
And a special thanks, as always, to Amy Waters for the use of our theme song from the album Gotta Go Slow. You can check out more of her work at YouTube and Bandcamp, and none of it is royalty-free versions of Sonic songs. It's all the real stuff. But
it's all real good covers and arrangements.
Absolutely. And remember to subscribe, review, share, etc. Just get our stuff out there if you like this, and just let other people know that we exist. I like when people know that. But now we've done Lego, what are we doing next? Oh, wait, hang on. Next episode. Oh, okay. So we just got done doing a weird episode. We're going to do another weird and experimental one next time. So how do we best describe this? Luke, you had this idea to begin with.
So this is going to be a weird one. It's also going to be kind of a test bed because this is a concept that we kind of really like the idea of, and we want to do multiple times with multiple guests. And we want to, this is going to be kind of our first attempt to get our feet wet and figure out the ins and outs of it. But we're going to do what we're kind of referring to internally as our Sonic Newbie Education 101 course, where we are going to bring on a guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Nope.
But it is someone who is not nominally a Sonic fan. And basically our intention is to answer any question they might have about the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, no matter how, complicated or completely inane or anything else, and do our best to educate them on Sonic and, maybe even see if we can turn them into at least a fair weather fan, maybe spread the level around a little bit.
And also maybe test their knowledge a little bit, see what they might have picked up by osmosis within the world, because lots of people at least know Sonic and who he is, but well, and also just be like, this weird thing about Sonic. Well, we're going to tell you all about it today.
Yep.
But it's going to be fun. It's an excuse for us to bring on people who aren't familiar with Sonic so we can have our other friends on, essentially.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it. We're expanding horizons here and teaching people valuable life skills like who Sonic the Hedgehog is and who is Ovikin Tabor.
Always to new horizons.
So we'll expand their frontiers next time on our podcast. But until then, this has been The Hill is Always Greener. I have been Full Arrow.
I've been Rock the Jake.
I'm CyberLink.
And I'm Game Buddy. And cars! Who knew? I mean, am I faster than the fastest car ever built? Yes. But, and it's wild, nobody ever asks about this, isn't running exhausting? And the answer is, of course, no. No, it is not exhausting. But I'll tell you something, Kip, old buddy. You run a lap around the planet, smashing up a badnik army along the way, boy, you're gonna get some blisters that make you wish you had a car.
This has been The Hill is Always Greener, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.
Why the hell am I in a car?